everybody, it's Romania Black, and we are on The Great Pretender, episode 15. Technically, according to Netflix, this is starting season 2, but season 1 apparently was the first 14 episodes, and then the last are technically called season 2, but I'm just calling it episode 15 because that's pretty much what it is. So, I've had a little bit of a break from Great Pretender. I had to get some other things recorded, so I've recorded a few other things, but now I'm ready to come back because of a brand new case. Makoto says that he's done with the con life. He's gonna keep just trying to make an honest living and not be involved with Laurent or Cynthia or Abigail. Sure. You keep telling yourself that, Makoto, because I don't think Laurent's going to let you just walk away from him that easily. No. I was talking in the Discord that I feel like Laurent, he gets like softer around Makoto. Like Makoto brings out his softer side. Like there were some shots in the last several episodes during Snow of London that just showed Laurent looking a little bit softer at Makoto, like, look at you. And so I thought that was really neat. I liked that a lot. So, and then we had that big teaser at the very end where Laurent had the ring and talked about Dorothy, right? So, interesting. So Dorothy is supposedly Laurent's ex-lover. Now, whether she's dead or alive, we don't know. Could be either way. But all we know is that Makoto says he's not going to be a con man anymore. He's going to go back to living an honest life. I don't know if he's going to move back to Japan or stay in Europe. And Abigail's kind of a free agent. She does whatever she wants to. And Cynthia, I think she'll still keep doing the con game because otherwise she would have gone off with Thomas, I think, if she wasn't going to continue the con game. But the fact that they kind of parted their ways and ended on good terms makes me believe she's going to stick around and still help Laurent. So we'll see, right? But we've had everybody's backstory except Laurent at this point, so would be a fitting way. I could honestly see if all of season 2 is about Laurent, right? Laurent and Makoto, because Abigail and Cynthia had their parts. Makoto had his part at the beginning in the first case. It would make sense if this season was all about Laurent and then ended like the last couple episodes with him maybe reconciling with Makoto, maybe something happening. We don't know. But we should have a new OP, a new ED, presumably if there are new seasons. And hopefully it's still Freddie Mercury. I would be fine if it was The Great Pretender as the ED again, just with different visuals. I'd be fine with that. I'd be all for it. But I'm curious to see what new OP and ED we're going to get. I'm curious to see, and maybe they'll keep it the same. And I'm curious to see like what more Sadamoto designs he has in store for us. So I'm really excited, y'all. I'm ready to see what it's like. So I hope you all are too. But we won't waste any more time. We are going to start The Great Pretender, episode 15. And we're going to start that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Man, Laurent is a blonde bastard. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'll be honest. I was very curious during that first 5 minutes when they were doing the recap. I was like, oh no, is this going to be a recap episode? I was really worried. I was like, is this going to be a recap episode and we're not going to get any new material? But no! Do we get new material? I'm like, Laurent. So, oh my gosh. Okay. So, it's such a weird thing because through the course of this series, Laurent he definitely has been tricking Makoto the entire time into doing these cons, like setting everything up, right? And in this case, setting him up to work with the Japanese mafia when he didn't even realize he was doing it. It wasn't an organization that Laurent was running. It was literally one that he knew about that he set him up with. And he's like, hey, these are our new targets. I'm setting you up with them. So, oh my God, because he knows how Makoto is. He knows Makoto has this bleeding heart and is going to instantly feel empathy. But honestly, the crazy thing about it is I think Laurent kind of feels the same way, but he's not honest about it like Makoto is. Or Laurent is pretending like he has a good heart like Makoto actually does. That's the thing. And the title, The Wizard of the Far East, leads us to believe that Laurent is the wizard, maybe like the Wizard of Oz, getting all these people involved. And then that Dorothy is maybe she went home and he can't be with her. That's interesting because Dorothy is the woman that has the white hair that he has with the Aurora, with the Northern Lights that he takes with. We'll get back. We'll get to that scene in a minute. But I feel like with Laurent, I feel like maybe Laurent he knows he's always been a bastard. He's always been a bad guy. He's just been trying, the title Great Pretender, he's been trying to pretend he's a good guy because he fell in love with this girl, and maybe Dorothy was genuinely good and he fell in love with her. And then she found out maybe about his past, about him being a con man. Maybe she left him, maybe she died, and he blames himself. But it seems like maybe he was a con man, got involved with her, fell in love, and then she either died or left him because she found out who he was or because of who he was. And so maybe to try and like honor her memory and to like live on and be a better person, he didn't quit being a con man because that's what he knew he was good at. But maybe he decided to like do cons that were benefiting others rather than just himself. And there is some selfishness to it because they're still making millions of dollars. Don't get me wrong. But all the cons that we've done so far have been taking down bigwig people that are manipulating the smaller people that have less resources and less fortune. Like Cassano was dealing drugs and was a major drug dealer. So they took him out of the equation, right? Which made things better. I would argue that Clark and Sam, yeah, they were swindling and doing some like underhanded like gambling, but it wasn't like on Cassano's level with the drug deals, I don't think. But still, they took him out, right? And then you have the Snow of London, which was arguably the least serious case. Like Cassano, I think so far has been the most serious with the drugs. And then you had Clark and Sam, and then you had, and then you went back down to Coleman, who was just basically cheating people out of money with fraud, but not on the same level as Cassano. Well, now we're back up with human trafficking. So we've jumped right back into the disturbing side of things, right? Fitting for the second half of this season. But I feel like all of the cases we've been on have been taking down people that are clearly doing bad things to other people and taking advantage and exploiting others. And they needed to be taken down, but the justice system just wasn't doing it. So enter our Robin Hood gang of conmen who just happen to skim off a little bit of profit off the top, right? Just a wee bit. So I feel like Laurent at this point, and I could be proven wrong by the end of the season, but I feel like Laurent is very much trying to do right by Dorothy and become a better man. And he's met Makoto, and maybe Makoto's sincerity and honesty, it reminds him of Dorothy. I feel like Makoto is what Laurent has always wanted to be. He's wanted to be the man that was immediately had a natural talent for swindling, but a heart of gold. I think Laurent has the natural talent for swindling, but he doesn't have a heart of gold. Laurent is not a nice guy. And I think he envies Makoto, and Makoto is exactly what he's always wanted to be to honor Dorothy, because Makoto has that genuineness to him that maybe Dorothy had, or has. We don't know if Dorothy's alive or dead or not. It could go either way at this point. I really thought she was going to be the one in charge of the company. Maybe she was kind of like a Cynthia case, but not so much. But yeah, so we get the idea that in this short amount of time, Makoto tells exactly. I love that Makoto's like, I despise Laurent. And it's the funniest thing because like, we're over here as the audience. Like, I want to ship Laurent and Makoto so bad. I want Makoto to realize that Laurent really likes him. But it's so funny, Makoto actively dislikes him back. Like, they do have their genuine moment on the hillside, which we'll talk about. But otherwise, Makoto's like, no. And it's ridiculous. But yeah, so we have the intro. We go through everything. We talk about like where we went to, did the highlights. I wish they'd shown Abby and Makoto smile, but we don't do that. But he calls him the blonde bastard. And he says he's seen all the sides of Abby and Cynthia. And he says like the one woman, Kim, like they go way back. And so he says the idea here that Laurent, he talks about Kudo and all them. And he says that Laurent had this, he's like, they're all pretty, what does he say? He says, Laurent has lots of other associates all over the place. Yes. He says, they're pretty cheerful bastards. Yeah, Laurent has a natural knack for like making acquaintances. And so the thing that he says here, it says, I know what I'm doing isn't right, but it was fun. But I just wanted you to hear it. So the thing of it is like you could take that two ways. What Makoto is meaning is that he knows the con man gig isn't right. He just wanted her to hear. But he said it was fun and stuff. But you could also take it as a double meaning that Makoto doesn't even realize that he's like, quitting is wrong because this is kind of where he belongs. Makoto being doing this Robin Hood work. But, oh my gosh. And so, yeah, I'm glad we have the same OP. The card, the Wizard of the Far East. This is my favorite card so far, is the one of Laurent in the suit, like with the northern lights, and her shadow is his shadow. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love that imagery. And so Laurent is haunted by the shadow of this woman that he loves. So I want to go back to this scene where they're walking. It shows them like outside the city. And he says, I'm beat. And so am I. And she says to carry me. And he says, why not, you meanie? He says, it's not good enough here. And so he makes her close her eyes as he takes her. She's so pretty with the blue eyes and the white hair. Oh, she's gorgeous. And then there's the Northern Lights. Yeah. I didn't expect Dorothy to look like that. I don't know. But I love it. And it's just, she has the same silhouette as the ED. Oh, and it almost looks like a purple under. I love Sadamoto's color design here because she has like, you can't tell if her hair is white or if it has purple undertones or if it's blue, but it's beautiful. And then there's her and him. Mm-hmm. And he sees her face, like her smile. And then Laurent. This show is not afraid, though, to have, like, the sexual undertones. Like, he wakes up and, like, has morning wood right there. Like, just right there and then. And so he's already made lunch. Yeah. Oh. He says the brutal return to reality. Like, he was really turned on in that moment with her, thinking of her. And he has the ring and everything. The brutal return to reality. So yeah, Laurent is just, again, great pretender. He's like lamenting he's constantly lamenting the loss of his love. And just doing everything he can to not think about it. I'm so curious to get Laurent's backstory. So curious. And they're like, oh, drinking this early? Beer for breakfast? And he's like, it's just wheat juice. I'm going to use that from now on. It's wheat juice. Sure. And of course, and then, yeah, they're like, what's next, pro wrestling? And then he's like, we're still one short, one person. Again, I feel like Laurent, ever since he's met Makoto, he finds a connection to Dorothy through him. I feel like it's not just a connection to Dorothy, though, because I don't want Makoto to be like a replacement for Dorothy. I don't think that's it. I don't think Makoto is Dorothy in Laurent's eyes. I think that Makoto is what Laurent wishes he was. And he's not like that. And he hates it. And he kind of envies Makoto for being what he couldn't have. And I like Makoto's like, he's like, if I died, would you guys miss me? And they're like, you showing up dead out of context makes no sense. And he's like, well, if I happen to die, it would just, you guys wouldn't even care, would you? And then he says he's come to say goodbye. And I like Cynthia's like, this again? Cynthia's like, you're not getting out of this, con. But Makoto's bound and determined not to be a part of it. And he seems so serious. And the thing about it is Laurent, we of course see the necklace around his neck. Laurent just stares at him like sincerely like, okay, you won out. And there's kind of a sadness there because it's like, it's like, Dorothy, if she's left Laurent, then he feels like Makoto's doing the same. And they're two people that he's really come to care about. And it's like, what do we do with that, right? And he's like, let's talk outside. I like he makes it private between the two of them. He says, when you're a con artist, you'll eventually end up like that. There's no way I want to die like that. Like, he's like, yeah. He's like, eventually, your life's going to... Being a con artist, your life is constantly at stake. And Makoto's like, yeah, I'm tired of my life being at stake. Thank you. He's like, I don't have a death wish like Abby and you. And he's like, and I'm not in it for the money like Cynthia to fill this void. He's like... And he says, to be honest, I despise you. I only appreciate you a tiny bit. I'm like, a tiny bit. We've upgraded from loathing him to appreciating him a tiny bit. Mm-hmm. And the sad thing is Laurent's like, yeah, I'm used to it. He just has that look on his face. I'd been stagnated in Japan, but you revived me. So that's it. Yeah. Makoto's like, I'd hit a plateau. and you kind of brought life back into my existence, but I still hate you, you bastard. I love their dynamic, right? It's fantastic. And he's like, and just the looks between them, it felt like a goodbye in this episode. Like Makoto was leaving him forever, and Laurent looks so soft there. Yeah, like Makoto just brings out that softness in him, and it's a genuine emotion. Like it's not him putting on a front, it's him being genuine. And I think that he's not been around like that around anybody until him since Dorothy. And I think even Cynthia notes it, and she kind of pokes him in like, you're only like this around Makoto. At this rate, I'll lose sight of myself. So Makoto's like, I gotta get out of this before I become something I'm not, before I start to believe the lies that I'm telling in order to con people, which is kind of where Laurent's gotten, right? He's like, I can't become like you. And that thought frightens me. But I think Laurent is like, you say that, but Laurent, I think, has more faith in Makoto. And he's like, you're not going to end up like that. You think you will, but you're not. He's like, you're going to be fine. He's like, you're going to be okay after all of this is said and done. He's like, you're going to be fine. It's going to be okay. He's like, you're not going to end up like me like you think you are. He's like, you always put your heart into it, and that's why you can persuade people. He's like, I guess it's time for a change. And he's like, I know it's hard to believe. I mean it since I've missed my chance to do so. Yeah. And he asked if he's had any regrets. And I just love that look between them. And honestly, if you look at the comparison of the scene under the Northern Lights, Makoto is kind of the same height as Dorothy. Or he seems to be. I'm so excited to delve into this case. He's like, if I did have any regrets, it would be that I never truly conned you. He's like, tough luck. I love it. He's like, I don't have much advice for you. Just do what you feel is right. If you follow your gut feeling, you'll naturally find the right path. Which, God, he also orchestrated all of this so that his gut feeling would be to get a hold of Laurent and for them to figure out the con. Like, what a blonde bastard. And then he gives that wink. I'm like, Junichi Suabe does such a good job voicing him, but he just does that little wink at him. I'm like, Laurent would give anything, I feel, to have Makoto return his affections. I just feel like he would just give anything for that moment. And Makoto's just like, okay. And then I like that Makoto doesn't, in that one moment that Laurent winks at him, Makoto doesn't sneer or go, ugh, or whatever. Instead, he gives Laurent the figurine. And he says, see you around, and gives it to him to keep. And he's kept it, right? He's not gotten rid of that. He has full on kept that. And he instantly started contemplating ways to get Makoto back in the game. And oh my gosh, so back on, that's what this was. So later in the episode, we find out how the con started. Laurent planted these people on Makoto's flight to plant the seeds about the trading company. Oh my God, Laurent, you bastard. He said, I'm going to start my life back in Japan all over again. Yeah, God, this was great. I don't know what to do. And then Miss Scarlet, oh my gosh, the posters, some serious job hunting. And then the job hunting, the guy planted on the train with the job hunting guide. Oh my gosh. When they say I won't be deceived so easily, I'm like, you were hook, line, and sinker the moment you left. Laurent is not going to let you go. Oh my God. And maybe Laurent has realized from letting Dorothy go that was a mistake. And he's like, once I like somebody and I found somebody I like, I'm not letting them go again. But the lengths that he goes to in this episode, I'm like, Laurent, really? Are you sure? And so he goes to this trading company. And the moment that they didn't question things and they were like, oh, it's fine that you've had this criminal record. I'm like, we saw from the beginning of the series how hard it was for him to get a job. And so for this guy to instantly be like, oh, no, it's fine. I was like, Laurent has a hand in this, right? But we find out that this is not one of Laurent's companies. It's literally the mafia. And because Makoto has a criminal record, they were like, oh, well, then you must be halfway decent. Okay. And the mafia instantly recognizes Makoto as being somebody that they can feel trustworthy around, because that's kind of his passion. Also, noting that throughout this episode, there are cats everywhere. There's a cat going across the foyer of his apartment. There is a cat on top of the car when they go to the tea cellar or whatever like that. Just like the ED, there's just little cats placed everywhere, and it's kind of adorable. But yeah, so Makoto, they do all these trading, get all of these different things, like the carpets, the rugs. And then their other job, he's like, we have to go to the HQ in Roppongi. And then they see the boss, and she gets out. Yeah, the leader of the Japanese mafia. And of course, should have been a red flag, I guess, in hindsight. Now, should have been a red flag when they all meet her coming off the helicopter, and she looks like this big boss. Should have been a hint that it was probably the Yakuza. Should have been a hint. But, what do we know? And she meets him, yeah. But then they go to Vietnam, and the moment they go to Vietnam, and Makoto's like looking at this tatted up guy driving him, he's like, this seems like a weird trade thing. And then they go and pick up the kids. We trade merchandise. And so I feel like it's Laurent. I feel like in this moment, Laurent is showing Makoto that, look, no matter where you go and you try to make an honest living, there are still going to be others around you, surrounding you at all times, that look like they're normal, but they're actually doing really shady and awful things. And you can keep trying your honest life, but now that you know what's behind, it's again the Wizard of Oz. He's like, now that you've seen behind the curtain and you know what goes on, he's like, are you really going to go back to an honest life after all of that? Or are you going to keep with us and like try to take these people down? Like, it's very much like a Robin Hood scenario, because yeah, Abigail and Cynthia, they've seen the other side of the curtain. They know what it's like. So this is their way to kind of get back at the system. And for Laurent, it seems to be the same case. So it's like he's telling Makoto, he's like, you think you can go back to just living like normal people? That's not an option. It's not going to be an option. Just, you're going to see, either you're going to accept, he's like, either you accept that the world is cruel like this and you become part of it, or you can help us take it down. And Makoto follows his guts. But man, this episode was hard, because he instantly sees his father in this situation, because his father was a trafficker. It's like, so Makoto is automatically like instantly thinking that he's like his dad, but realizing just how easy it is to get caught up in the system, right? So, and just seeing how easy it is for the system to work like this, because like the guy at the trading thing that talks about inspecting, the other guy's like, oh, he's just the new guy, it's okay, and just instantly fools him like it's no big deal. And the other guy probably knows what's going on. But it's really sad. Like, they show like they had to make a profit, and they show them like cleaning these kids up. There's like the stage where people bid on people, and it's disgusting. It's so bad. And finally, Makoto, he just can't take anymore. Like, it's awful. And yeah, it's just, I love him sitting back in the back. I wanted him to stop like the auction, but then what would he do, And they just do what you feel is right. If you follow your gut feeling, you'll naturally find the right path. And so again, this going back to if you follow your gut, you'll find the right path. And it's like, you can follow the yellow brick road. Look, I've laid it out in front of you so that you're subconsciously going to go on it. Yeah, because this one guy says, oh, you sound like you're busy. He's like, oh, I'm in trading. Maybe I'll try that. Like, and then the scarlet lipstick ad. And then the job options thing in there where it was open to the Scarlet Company. So, okay, the Scarlet makeup ad was tied to the Scarlet Company, which is the company that the mafia is basically operating under. Okay. I like that Wit Studio has like an ad in there as well. That's hilarious. And they have there on there. And then selfless devotion to others. Oh my God, he's like, that prick! Oh my God, he basically lured Makoto into their next gig. And he's like, oh, hold on, what are you talking about? He's like, don't you act dumb. He's like, Scarlet Company is the shell company for the mafia. I love that we see, like, he just tossed his shoes off, tossed his tie and jacket, and was like, you bastard. He's like, you tricked me and steered me into working for them. I was like, oh, you figured that out fast. Oh, my God. And they're at UAE. He's like, don't get upset. I wanted to give you a glorious final performance in Tokyo. Oh, because he's going back to the beginning where Makoto was like, this will be my final performance. And Laurent's like, yeah, no, that was not your final performance. This is your final performance. Taking down the Japanese mafia. Oh my God. And I love that he has him as edamame in his phone. Brilliant. I did it out of love. And the thing of it is, when Laurent is talking about love, I don't think he's lying. I think he's being genuine there. But Makoto's just like, how could you, you know? He's like, do you have any idea what SOOOO Association does? And then he gives it to Abby, and Abby's like, yeah, they're the scumbag Japanese mafia who buy orphans and refugees and sell them to the world's wealthy. Yep. And Makoto's like, just on the ground at this point. Their boss is the empress of the Japanese underworld, Akemi Suzaku. And he just slowly, like, leans into the floor. He's like, what's the hustle this time? He's like, I have to ask an old friend to give us a hand. And then Clark! I can't believe we have Clark coming back in this. I love it. I love Clark. I'm rooting for him to win Abby's heart. Don't think it's going to work, but I'm rooting for him, you know? And yeah, I'm amazed Clark is willing to work with Laurent after Laurent got his brother in trouble, and the thing about it is, Laurent says you're making an honest start again. So I feel like Laurent understands people making an honest living for themselves, but he's just so unwilling to just let Makoto go. He doesn't want to let Makoto go yet. It's like, oh, dude, he's not ready to let him go. But God, so yeah, but I feel like maybe Laurent will let him go after this round. If he said this is the final performance, who knows? He's like, it's hard to believe we've never met. Yeah, like you've never met, but he instantly knows. And I love that he just walks right past Laurent and goes to Abby. And Abby's like, oh, I like that horseshoe crab hairdo you have. It's cool. Like, he's just trying his best. And she's like, meh. And he's like, I'm rooting for Clark. I am. I'm rooting for Clark to win over Abby. He's like, why'd you come all this way? Why'd you have me come all this way out here just to trick me again? Now that you've broken away from your brother and are on an honest path, I'd like to sponsor your team. And I wonder if Laurent gets kind of like sentimental about the fact that Clark likes Abby, if he sees something in that. Laurent makes me think of like an old school romantic, right? I feel like Laurent is a very romantic guy. He just also knows he's a bastard and he leans into it, but he has this like heart that wants to be an old school guy. So he's a romantic at heart. What can we do? And he says, what do I need to do in exchange? He says, do I need to ride in a wheelchair? I love that when he gets right up in Clark's face. He's like, let's play a game that's just as exciting as racing, but there will be a script. I love that it's just like, he's like, I know you don't like scripts, but there's going to be one for this. Like, oh, like the fact that he gets right up in Clark's face. Laurent is like just into everybody. So I really liked this episode. This was really good. Bless his heart, Makoto. Like, I mean, Laurent is a bastard for shoving him into this and making him witness this human trafficking firsthand, knowing his father's backstory and how he feels. Like, Laurent is a bastard, but I feel like Makoto's like, damn it, fine, we'll take them down because this is really wrong. What are we doing? So, I don't know, but I'm loving the Wizard of Oz references. I'm loving that we're finally getting Laurent backstory. I'm so excited. But yeah, and then Clark's back. I'm excited about that. The gang's all together. We haven't seen Cynthia in this yet, but I'm sure she has a part to play. I almost thought for a second when they said that they were going to see the boss, I thought it was going to be like Dorothy coming off the plane, like she owned the company. And then we saw that the skin she had was like lighter. I thought it was maybe going to be Cynthia and Makoto was going to be like, what? But no, it is a legit mafia boss that they're taking down. No pressure. No pressure. We started off with a mafia boss in the US. We're ending with a mafia boss in Japan. Because Laurent says this is indeed the final performance. So maybe this case takes up the entire season. Maybe. I feel like if we're getting Laurent backstory tied in, it might. So that's going to be interesting. But yeah, I'm really excited, y'all. So I hope you all enjoyed this reaction and discussion. I hope you are as excited as me to get into this second half of the series. But I hope you also have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with episode 16 of The Great Pretender. Bye.